Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everyone is at the comfort of their own homes. If not, then you're sitting somewhere comfortable. Maybe some of you are hanging out together, watching the class. Maybe not. Whatever the case may be, I am glad that we get to do this from home under special circumstances. We will be doing this a couple of times a month. It will be like this. So, I hope it's okay with you. At this moment, when we're starting, I'd like you to get your book. If you haven't gotten your book yet, get it. I also need you to have a pen or a pencil. It would be great if you had a pen or a pencil. I'm just doing this for the sake of visuals. Get your book. I hope you brought it from home. Yesterday, when I saw you in class, I said, hey, take your books home, we're going to need it. I don't know if you remember it. So you need to have a notebook or a piece of paper of some sort. Doesn't matter what kind. And a pencil or a pen. The first thing we're going to do today is talk about a current topic, but in a bit of an unusual way. We'll see how it goes. I was just looking this up on Duolingo for you. So here it goes. Let me show you something on Duolingo. On Duolingo, you have something called stories. Stories. These stories, they start really easy.
Good morning.
Good morning, honey.
Good morning, Lauren.
They start really, really easy. And then they become more difficult as you progress. As you progress, then you will see the stories getting a bit harder. And you will notice that the level of the stories, not only do they get more difficult, but they also become more interesting because there are more characters, there are more situations for you to listen to. Here is what kind of sucks about it, about the stories. If you speak Norwegian as your first language, you can't find Duolingo stories in English. My advice to you is, and here's what I did. I signed up for Duolingo in Spanish for Spanish speakers who want to study English. So it says here, Inglés. All you have to do is set your language to Spanish. I'm saying Spanish because I know some of you have taken Spanish in junior high. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say junior high, here in Norway, junior high consists of 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. That's junior high. Then high school, 11th, 12th, 13th grade. So set your language to Spanish and then go to where it says Inglés. If you do, just go through the easy ones.
A date. Julia has a date at a restaurant.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
They're very easy. You can go through them really quickly. By the time you get to the more challenging ones, then you'll really start to test your English knowledge. Today, I would like to start a little bit of a discussion here. I want you to think about this because of what's happening in the world right now. The United States of America is holding elections. Donald Trump versus Biden. And one of the stories here on Duolingo is called El Mejor Presidente. Those of you who remember Spanish will know what that means.
The best president.
So I want to go over this with you. And here's what I'm going to do. I told you to get a pen or a pencil and a notebook. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to try to write down as many sentences as you can from the story. This will only be a few minutes. After that, we'll change activities, do something else. We'll go to our books, and then I have something to talk to you about. It's something about extra credit for those who are interested. Extra credit. What is that? We'll see. So I intend to hold this for about 45 minutes to close to an hour. And instead of taking a break, you can just be dismissed earlier. I feel like that's a better solution. So let's get started. I'm going to play the text, and you will write down as many sentences as you can. The whole story is about presidents. Do not worry about your spelling, because if you think too much about your spelling, you will end up spelling things wrong. Just write stuff down as you visualize the words, as they come to you. Okay? Is everybody ready?
Two college students, Ernest and Jesse, are in the library.
We have to write an essay about the best American president in history.
I'm going to repeat the first couple of sentences, and you can write them down.
Two college students, Ernest and Jesse, are in the library.
We have to write an essay about the best American president in history.
Hopefully you have had enough time to write everything down. One more time.
Two college students, Ernest and Jesse, are in the library.
We have to write an essay about the best American president in history.
All right, now let's see if this is what you got. Two college students, Ernest and Jesse, are in the library. We have to write an essay about the best American president in history. If this is what you have, then you're all right. Let's keep going. You get what I'm asking you to do. Just listen and write stuff down. Do not translate anything to Norwegian. This is not a translation exercise. This is a listening and writing exercise. Let's continue.
That's so easy. easy.
Yeah, Mrs. Clark will get so bored reading a lot of essays about Abraham Lincoln.
I'm going to repeat both parts. There is one sentence with 3 words, which should be very simple.
That's so easy.
Yeah, Mrs. Clark will get so bored reading a lot of essays about Abraham Lincoln.
Now I'm going to repeat one more time. Usually when we repeat the sentences on Duolingo, it tends to be a little bit slow. So don't mind that. And when it's slowed down, you can probably understand better.
That's so easy.
Yeah, Mrs. Clark will get so bored reading a lot of essays about Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, Mrs. Clark will get so bored reading a lot of essays about Abraham Lincoln.
That was super slow. But at least I feel like you can understand better when it's slowed down, but try to get it before it slows down though. All right, let's check. Let's check this out to see how it went. I'm just going to make this disappear. That's so easy. Yeah, Mrs. Clark will get so bored reading a lot of essays about Abraham Lincoln. All right, one thing that I want you to never forget is that a lot is 2 separate words. A lot. 2 separate words. Never forget that. It's very important. There are certain mistakes that are not going to be acceptable anymore at this point. Stuff that you used to get half a point for, a bit of a, maybe the whole sentence was worth 5 points. And if you wrote a lot as one word, I would give you maybe 75% of that point. But now the story is different because we're almost halfway through the school year, and we have already talked about this. And by the time you come to me to learn English, you're not really learning how to speak and how to write and how to understand. You're actually improving what you're supposed to already have from junior high. And from junior high, it was already supposed to be that you girls would come here knowing that a lot is 2 separate words. Maybe some of you didn't know that before, but now you do. So you're required to spell that correctly. Let's keep on going.
You're going to write about Lincoln? You're going to write about Lincoln?
Of course I am. Of course I am. Are you writing about Lincoln too? Are you writing about Lincoln too?
No, because he wasn't the best president. No, because he wasn't the best president.
Here's what you should have by now. Let's take a look.
You're going to write about Lincoln?
You're going to write about Lincoln? This is very widely used in question form without inverting the, because you learn from a very early age when you learn English. Are you? Question form. You are. Statement. But here, this is an informal conversation between 2 friends. You're going to write about Lincoln?
Of course I am. Are you writing about Lincoln too?
Are you writing about Lincoln too?
No, because he wasn't the best president.
Just so you know, I'm gonna want to see your notebook or whatever piece of paper you wrote this stuff in. I want to see that you're doing this. I want to see this stuff written down somewhere. This is an assignment. This is part of a class. And we're talking about presidents because of the election in the US, so we're talking about American presidents, and I found this story on Duolingo for you. So if you haven't started writing yet, start now, because I am going to check this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to want a picture of your notebook page or whatever piece of paper you wrote this in. I'm going to want to see it because it's part of the assignment. You're in your own homes. You don't have to do much except for listen, write down, and participate. Now let's continue. And I really sincerely hope that everyone's paying attention. Okay, let's continue.
Franklin Roosevelt was.
If you don't know how to spell that, it's not a problem. Just write it in whatever way you think is fit.
Franklin Roosevelt was.
Roosevelt. Roosevelt. Are you joking? Are you joking?
Roosevelt created the Social Security system. Roosevelt created the Social Security system, and he also created minimum wage in the U.S. And he also created minimum wage in the U.S.
I'm going to repeat the sentences that you need to have, and then I'm going to show you what they were.
Franklin Roosevelt was.
Roosevelt. Are you joking?
Roosevelt created the Social Security system.
Roosevelt created the Social Security system.
And he also created minimum wage in the U.S.
And he also created minimum wage in the U.S. Now let's take a look at these sentences to see what you have.
Franklin Roosevelt was.
Roosevelt. Are you joking?
Roosevelt created the Social Security system. And he also created minimum wage in the U.S.
Minimum wage is the lowest amount of money someone can make at work. Let's continue. We are almost finished.
And he helped the U.S. win World War II. And he helped the U.S. win World War II.
Yeah, but he was president for the longest amount of time. Yeah, but he was president for the longest amount of time. Yeah, but he was president for the longest amount of time. So he had a lot of time to do all those things. So he had a lot of time to do all those things.
All right.
And he helped the U.S. win World War II.
And he helped the U.S. win World War II.
Yeah, but but he was president for the longest amount of time.
Yeah, but he was president for the longest amount of time.
So he had a lot of time to do all those things.
So he had a lot of time to do all those things.
Ugh.
Lincoln helped poor people own land for the first time.
All right, ladies, so I am going to request that you take a picture of your notebooks or whatever piece of paper you wrote this in. Two college students talking about who the best American president was. Of course, they were not talking about any of the contemporary presidents. They were talking about Abraham Lincoln and Frank Roosevelt. You can even Google who they are, and you can look at their platforms, what they did, if you agree or disagree with one or the other. But the question today is, who's the best American president? Right now, who is the best candidate? Can you just type in chat who you think should win the elections? Not who do you think will win, but who do you think should win? Remember that. I know that a lot of people use skal, as in should, and a lot of people use skal as in will. There is a difference. When you say, "Jag ska dra," I am going to leave. I will leave. Jag bör göra det. I should do that. So there, you have to think in terms of the meaning. So what I'm asking you is not who will win, but who should win. Vem bör? Vem må vinna? Who should win? In your opinion, of course. We're changing activities. Remember, I want a picture of your notebook sent to my email or anywhere, even Canvas, because when people send me stuff through Canvas, it actually goes to my email and I'm able to open it. So if you want to send it there, that's fine. I don't like using Canvas very much because I can't do it at home, but I am looking at everything that you do and write and hand in this class. And the body of work, your body of work, is what's going to count for your final grade. Okay, let's change activities. Yesterday I told you to bring this home because you were going to need it. And today we're still talking about work. It's going to be a constant theme in our classes because this is English for the workplace, right? One of the things that you need before you even start working, you have to be considered for a job. Maybe you have to compete with other candidates. So you are required to be somebody who presents themselves well to the world. If you have to do this in English, then you have to have good English skills. When I say have good English skills, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to sound American. You don't have to sound British. You don't have to sound Australian. You don't have to sound like you're from New Zealand. You don't have to sound like you're from Canada. You have to sound intelligible. What does that word mean, intelligible? Does that mean intelligent? No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that. Intelligible means that which can be understood. So when I speak Norwegian, yeah, I have a little bit of a laugh. When I speak Norwegian, I probably have an accent when I speak Norwegian, an accent that will tell you this person's not Norwegian. But still, when I say, "Hallo, jeg heter Pollyanna," and people will know that I'm saying my name is Pollyanna. Correct? So that's what intelligible means. People understand you. If you speak English and people don't understand you, that's not intelligible. Because if people can't understand you, then you can't communicate. And without communication, language really doesn't exist. Language only exists with communication. So let's get started. I want you to open your books to pages 74 and 75. The pages look like this. Very politically correct. Pages 74 and 75. So nowadays it's you have to add pictures of people of different races and colors and body types, and you have to include everybody. And you know what? I think that's fantastic. There used to be a time when you would open a textbook and everybody was blonde and blue-eyed, and everybody was, even if they were in Brazil or in countries where English is not the language, where people look a certain way, they would still have the textbooks with everybody looking blonde and blue-eyed, which was kind of, I don't want to get into that too much, but it made everybody feel like, oh, look at me, I am not blonde, I'm not blue-eyed, what is wrong with me? Why don't I look like the people here? So I feel like diversity is very important. And here you have blonde people, black people, brunettes, and older people, younger people, plus size people, skinny people, all types of people, which is something that you will learn about being politically correct, being an including society where you include everybody. Being inclusive, that's very important. So let's get started on this. What employers look for. Let's type in the chat box. Let's type, what does employer mean? You can write it in Norwegian. Employer. Quick. I want to see the chat box. And I'm going to put in hearts for everybody that spells it right and everybody that writes the correct word. You're probably seeing all kinds of hearts and good job, excellent, slaying, yay. That's what you're seeing. This has already happened by the time you watch it, but I'm also there typing and watching this, and excellent. Employers. And I believe yesterday it was I think it was Hannah W. who said this. She said the employer is the boss. It's a very good way to explain it in English. Employer. Arbeidsgiver. Employee. Arbeidstaker. Let's keep on going. What employers look for. So here in this text, you will hear a lot of the qualities, the advantages, the good points, the positive points that the employers look for when they choose somebody to work for them. Let's start with where it says reflect on top of the page. On top of page 74, right here. Okay, that was not what, that was too thick. Okay, how about this? Here on top of the page, reflect. think about it. What do you think are the two most important things to show to someone that, like you want to show someone that you are the right person for that job? You want to come in and they're going to say, hey, Marlene, you are the right person for this job. What is it that you're going to show? Marlene L, Marlene N. I'm not going to disclose anybody's last names for obvious reasons. The only person who is fully exposed here is me. Everybody can see me, everybody knows what my name is, everybody knows where I live. But this is one of the safest countries in the world. So I'm good. I'm feeling all right about this. So what are the two things? There are several things here. How skilled you are, how willing you are to learn, how interested you are in the work, how friendly you are, how funny you are, how reliable you are, how well traveled you are. So I want you girls to think of two things that you find are the most important things that the employers look for when they hire somebody. And write them in the chat box. I want to see it. I want to see it. I have my pick of the two things I think are important, but different people appreciate different things, and of course different people have different ideas. So there is absolutely no problem if you have, there's no right answer, wrong answer for this at all. You can just express your opinion and it will be deeply appreciated. I will be writing my feedback in the chat box and you will know how I feel about what you've said. Now I'm going to give you my opinion. It depends on the job. Here is my opinion. If you are going to work, let us just say that you are going to work at a coffee shop. I think you need to be friendly and you need to be reliable. What does reliable mean? Reliable. Please write in the chat box. Politely. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Politely. That means reliable. The word in our region is politely. So I believe that if you work at a coffee shop, you need to be friendly. If you work as a waitress or as a receptionist, some different places in different countries, they have like a hostess. Not exactly a receptionist, but a hostess that is at the front door when you come to a restaurant, when you come to a cafe, and she needs to be friendly. She needs to be pleasant, right? So those things are very important. And being reliable, because you need people to be on time. You need people to be somebody that you can ask them to do something, to perform a task, and you can trust that they will do the right thing. Now, if you are going to work as a history teacher, I believe you should be well traveled. That's my opinion. And I believe you should be interested in the work. And let me tell you why I'm saying history and why I'm saying these things. History, if you come in and you just have the stuff from a book, oh, I have all this information of when this happened, it was in 1942, and I just throw the information at someone just because I memorized it, that's not interesting, that's not fun, and nobody's going to want to know. But if I'm interested in it and I show I have passion for it, then everyone will feel that. Now, if you work at a hotel, here's what I think you should be. Willing to learn, and you should also be skilled. I have worked at a hotel. I came to Norway, I had to learn how to speak Norwegian, and I had to get my competency diploma in Norwegian and my proficiency diploma in Norwegian before I could work as a teacher. I am proficient at Norwegian. I get a little nervous when I speak Norwegian, but I do it. I can do it. I don't really have a problem making a fool of myself. I'll do it. But before I got to that point, then I worked at a hotel. And I had never worked at a hotel before. So I had to be willing to learn how to do that job. And I learned. I started, and my boss at the time, her name was Lisbeth, she was awesome. She taught me how to clean hotel rooms and what I should do and how I should fix different things in a hotel room. And I'll never forget what she said to me. Pollyanna, when you come in, you have to look at the hotel room and you have to clean it, and it has to look like a place where you would like to stay with your family, where you would feel comfortable, where you would want that hotel room for yourself. And I learned. When I started, it took me about an hour to clean a hotel room and to fix everything up. And after years, I think I worked about 3 or 4 years at the hotel while studying Norwegian, while teaching private lessons. I was teaching. People would come to my house and I'd teach them English. I would teach basic Norwegian to Brazilians. I was making some extra money like that, but also keeping my skills at Norwegian, learning. So you need to be willing to learn. What does that mean, willing to learn? It means that you want to learn, right? So my opinion is that all of those characteristics here are very important, and you can pick 2 which are important depending on what kind of job the person is going to do. Here you have 5 pictures. Let's take a look at the different pictures. I'm going to get a purple marker. In this picture, this beautiful girl, I know that some people don't think that a girl could do that type of work. Heck yeah, girls can be mechanics. Girls can be anything they want. Girl power. Maybe this was not girl power, this was black power, right? I can use this for girl power too. So this girl is a mechanic. If you look in the blurry background, you'll see there's a guy fixing a car, or maybe it's a girl with short hair, I can't tell, but it looks like she works at an auto body shop, which is where mechanics work. And this girl is a mechanic. And she probably slays at it. She's probably excellent. What do you think this guy does for a living? I'm circling him with purple right now. Write it in the chat box. What does this guy do for a living? How do you say serviteur in English? Waiter is right. Waitress is also right. But guess what? These 2 words, waiter, waitress, they put gender into the occupation. And nowadays, the trend is that a word like server would be way more acceptable than waiter or waitress, because a server can be both a man or a woman. And when you say waiter and waitress, you're putting gender into things. And nowadays the trend is gender doesn't matter, which can be good or bad, but we're not going to get into that. Not today, not in this chapter. Now I'm going to change the color to pink. Gotta love pink. So here you have an occupation that in Norway you can make bucket loads of money in this profession. How do you say frisør in English? Hairdresser is correct. Hairstylist is also correct. And people make a lot of money doing this. Are most hairstylists male or female? And does it matter? What do you think? Please type in the chat box and then I'll tell you my opinion. My personal opinion. I'll tell you, as somebody that has ethnic hair, I feel like I want my stylist, my hairdresser, to know my type of hair. I know that maybe a Norwegian girl who has always lived in Norway and studied all types of different hair, maybe she knows how to do my hair because she has studied and prepared herself for it. And maybe somebody who has worked in a Brazilian hair salon, they're also used to doing my hair. So to me, it doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman. I just want them to know how to do my hair so I don't go bald. Who wants to go bald? Yeah, it's a rhetorical question. I don't mean it. Hairdressers. Now, the next occupation. Let's go for baby blue for this one. The next occupation. Here you have a gray-haired man who's probably in his 40s, like me, or maybe 50s. And here's a young person next to him. Maybe the older guy is teaching the younger guy how to do his job. They're working with contacts on the wall. They're installing maybe an outlet. An outlet is where you plug things in. So, what do you think their occupation is? What is their occupation? What is their job? What do they do for a living? If you said they are electricians, you may very well be right. And do you think there are more females or male electricians? And what kind of qualities do you need to be an electrician? Being an electrician, you can't just say, hey, I'm going to learn how to fix this stuff. I'm going to learn how to wire everything. And you can't just say that and do it yourself. You have to go to a course and learn, like we have the people here at school who take the course to be able to use electrical devices, to be able to fix them and know how they work, even build them. My father was an electrical engineer. So what he did is he went to university for 6 years at one of the best universities in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro. And he worked for General Electric and he worked for SELBU in Brazil as well. And I don't know anything about electronics. I just watched him do things a lot. I never learned myself. But what I can tell you is that it is not for everyone. And you need to be skilled to do it. Just willing to learn is not enough. You need to have the skills. Last but not least, and let's go for green. I know somebody whose favorite color is green. Do you know somebody whose favorite color is green? Here are two guys in the kitchen. You know that some people say, hey, a woman's place is in the kitchen. But we have two guys here who are in the kitchen. What do they do for a living? Type it in the chat box. They're chefs. They're cooks. right? They work in the kitchen. Now we're going to listen to the text and follow. I want you to listen and read simultaneously. Simultaneously meaning at the same time. Look at the words, listen to the words, learn the words. We don't have that much more to do today. So after you listen to this text, we're going to do one more activity and boom! We don't have to be doing this anymore. Okay. Are you ready? I am going to play it for you. I want you to listen. Page 75. What employers look for.
What employers look for. We give many young people their first taste of work, so we understand that what they may lack in specific skills, they more than make up for in enthusiasm and an appetite to learn, says Jez Langhorne, Senior Vice President and Chief People Officer at McDonald's UK. My advice would be not to worry about levels of experience and just let these qualities shine through. The main thing employers are looking for in young people is a passion for their chosen industry and their company. After all, they can train you in their systems, processes and knowledge specific to a role. But they can't give you genuine interest and enthusiasm or a willingness to work hard for them. These need to come from you. Julie Taylor, National Careers Service Advisor, says, employers are commonly looking for similar traits and characteristics in apprentices, regardless of the job role, including punctuality, reliability, and having a real interest in the job, coupled with a willingness to learn. For young people who haven't yet had a job, it's useful to know that many employers also value any voluntary work experience that a young person has had, particularly if it relates to that particular role or job sector. And it's even more highly regarded if this is something that the young person organised independently, says Julie Taylor. One area that many young people underestimate is their inherent digital expertise. Having grown up in the digital world, many tools and technologies are second nature to them. Now is the time to capitalise on these skills and show potential employers exactly how valuable they can be, says Anne Pickering, Human Resources Director at O2. We look for people with the right attitude, the right qualities, and the desire to fulfil their potential. People who can stand out from the crowd and deliver the high standards of quality and service expected in our restaurants. Our apprenticeship takes at least 12 months to complete, so apprentices need to be dedicated, eager to learn, and keen to combine hands-on work with part-time study, says McDonald's Jez Langhorne.
All right, ladies, what you're going to do now here's what you have to show me today. You have to do the exercise at the bottom of page 75. At the bottom of page 75, there are 4 questions. You're going to answer these 4 questions, and this is what you're going to send to me. You're going to send me a photograph of your notebook with the first part of this class, with the sentences written down. This video will still be available on YouTube, so you can even watch the video again at some point and write stuff down and send it to me. It's perfectly fine. And the 4 questions on page 75. That's it. That's all that is your assignment for the day. We're going to play Quizlet Live. We're going to do 3 rounds of Quizlet Live. Before we start, however, I want to show you something. Here are my Toni Morrison books. that I'm so proud of. I have read all of these books. I really have. I love these books. And for extra credit, you can read either Paradise or God Help the Child, A Mercy, Tar Baby, Sola, Song of Solomon, The Bluest Eye, any of those. You can read one of those, write a book report, and you can submit it for extra credit. I am now putting in, I'll explain the extra credit. Let us just say that you're pulling a 3 or a 4 at the very end of the year. If you are pulling a 3, but you have plenty of extra credit because you've done extra activities during the year, you can get 1 point extra credit and bump your 3 to a 4, your 4 to a 5, 5 to a 6. But extra credit is extra credit. So you can read one of those books. I'll be happy to lend you one of the books if you want. So we're going to do Quizlet Live, 3 rounds. I'm going to put in the code for you. And we're going to take 1 round with vocabulary from yesterday, 1 round with vocabulary from the week before last, because I want you to remember the words. So the very first one is American work culture. This is what we read yesterday. You will be getting a code in the chat box right now. You will be playing individuals, just because it's easier when everyone is in their homes. So it's a lot easier this way. Write in the code and get started. I would really like people to play Quizlet Live, but also to study on Quizlet themselves. It's very important that you learn these words. Remember, you only have English 1 year in high school now. You used to have 2 years. Now you only have English 1 year in high school. So make the best out of it. Put in the code and get started. You may have already started, who knows? Remember, this happens about a few minutes before. When you see this, I have already said all this stuff. I have already done this stuff. So please concentrate and do it. On the screen will be some of the questions. After the 3rd round, we're gonna go. second set will be about Black Americans when we studied Black history of the United States, the vocabulary from last week. The next set will be about the poem that we read last week as well, Sending Flowers. And this is the last one for the day. Give it your best. Have a good day. Submit your work to my email or to Canvas. You can send it to me via Canvas as long as you do it. A photograph of what we did in the very beginning of the class about the presidents. Take a picture with your phone and send it to me via email. Or if you can't reach me through email, I'm always available on all sorts of social media. Wherever you send it, I'll get a hold of it. But the school platform, Canvas, you can send it to me there. You can send it to me via email. Photograph of the beginning of the class of the text that you had to write by hand. Second part, the 4 questions on page 75. Have a great day. If you need me, I'm available on Skype all the way until 2 o'clock. Have a great day.